And a low downwind. Cessna over the threshold, coming up on the white dot, at or beyond the white dot, left turn first available. I got a high wind coming up on about a half-mile final, clear to land at or beyond. Traffic on the left face, you're following a Cessna down, low off your left. Square it up just a little bit, and then we're going to get you in. Start your descent, though. Start your descent on the base. Traffic on final, give me follow on base. Base traffic, start turning toward the numbers now. High wing coming up on quarter-mile final, take it all the way down to the green. Cessna taxiing on the green, expedite down to the next hard surface. Get me some speed, there you go, go fast. This is going to be good. I got traffic on a mile final. You're following traffic ahead and to your right. High wing coming up on the threshold. Take it all the way down to the green dot.
5 Charlie Sierra, 2 mile final.
A mile final, turn north, and we're going to just make you, we're going to bring you back around. Jet traffic's coming up on about a mile and a half final. Runway 9er clear to land.
Okay, all right. Let's listen up, guys. If you're on final for runway 9, I want you to offset to the left. I got a jet that's landing on runway 9. The jet's cleared to land runway 9 if you can make it. If not, just continue straight ahead. It looks like you're going around for the jet. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine.
Oh, we have one right in front of us, sir.
Dragger. Let's see. What we got? A tricycle. Tricycle, put it down. Tricycle, put it down. Tricycle, put it down. Tail dragger. Down to the green dot, then a left turn. Short final here. You click land on 9 all the way to the white dot. Go down to the white dot. Find somebody to follow out here. Canard, just come to the runway, and I might have to just send you around. That'll be fine. And for the jet, you just want to stay in this pattern, or you want to go back out for an instrument approach?
Stay in a pattern, Charlie Sierra.
All right, just stay with me here for a minute. And my tail dragger, let's see, over the numbers, go down to the green. And Canard's going to have to go around. Canard, go around. Canard, go around. Canard, go around. And my high wing here over the runway, keep your airborne. Keep it airborne. You do not descend. Do not descend. You got a fast guy behind you. Do not descend. Here you go. Keep it airborne. Keep it airborne. As soon as the guy behind you gets slowed down, I'm going to put you down. So keep it airborne. The one that just passed the white dot, make a left turn on the hard surface. All right, my high wing tail dragger, you can put it down now. You can put it down now. And Charlie Sierra, let me get you about a mile off. Let's see, Charlie Sierra, I lost. There you are. Make a left-hand turn. I'll try to resequence you here on the downwinds. We'll see how it looks. Short final, you're clear to land runway 9 on the white dot. Clear to land on the white dot. There you go. And the tricycle left on the hard surface and follow the flagman. Welcome. Thanks for being part of the show. And let's see, just find somebody to follow out follow on the final. And as you get close to the runway, if it's not going to work, we're going to send you around and then try to resequence you. Now, who else got sent around that's not back on the downwind? The Canard?
Yeah, Canard.
All right, Canard, there's a Gulfstream up there that went around too. I just lost sight of him, but you're going to make kind of a left-hand turn and stay low. I think Charlie Sierra, what's your altitude?
3,200.
Okay, that'll be fine. Just maintain VFR. I don't know what else is up there above you. Probably most everybody's down here, so just make a left-hand turn. We'll try to get you back here.
Canard's got the jet in sight.
Okay, the RV, maybe an RV-10, whatever, here on final. Keep your speed up and go all the way down to the, aim for the green dot for me. Actually, keep your speed up. There's a guy behind you. Aim for the green dot, and I'm sure that's plenty of room for you to land on runway 9. You're clear to land on runway 9. Number 2, you're going to go down to the white dot. Follow the white dot. Actually, you know what? That's 1,500 feet. You're going to land at the white dot. The spacing looks adequate here. 2 guys on final. You're kind of tight there. Keep each other in sight, and you're going to aim for the white dot. If it's not going to work, we'll come up with a plan B. We might have to send you around. The second guy behind you out there in about a 2-mile final. Are you slow enough to be able to follow that guy in front of you? You need to go around.
Yeah, follow.
Well, I probably shouldn't ask that because I had about 5 guys answer me, so I should know better than that after 35 years, you would think, right? All right, so let me see. The guy who's number 1, it's number 1. What kind of airplane is he? An RV type. All right, RV type. Keep it airborne for me. Keep it airborne. And I got a fast guy behind you. The number 2 guy over the trees there. Go ahead and put it down on the numbers. Put it down on the numbers. My first guy just coming up on the numbers at the over the grass at the numbers. I want you to keep
T-minus 1 minute and counting.
Hello.
Four, three, two, one.
Hello. Welcome to another Flyer live stream. This must be Flyer live stream God knows how many, 500 and something, or maybe a bit less than that. Anyway, what have we got coming up for you tonight? I mean, the weather outside is pants, isn't it? So what better to do than watch the live stream? Tonight, we're talking of weather being pants. The first thing we got is a recording from Simon Keeling on how pants the weather's going to be over the weekend, and I think it's prob 90 pants all the time. Then we got some news, including we're asking just what is the CA up to at the moment? I mean, seriously. We got Rich Goodwin, display pilot extraordinaire, and his jet-powered pits come along to talk to us tonight, which is really looking forward to. Fantasy hanger on which kit aircraft would you like to see approved in the UK? You may or may not be aware, but there are significant numbers of kit aircraft that are approved elsewhere rather than in the UK that haven't quite got approved in the UK yet. Annoyingly, in some cases. Plus, we've got QSY, we've got Flyer Club, we've got news of the first Flyer Club fly out. That'll be Johnny to tell you about that later. And we'll wrap up with QSY in maybe about an hour's time. You never know how long these things are going to take. So, I think it's time to get on, and let's go with Simon's recording.
Evening, everybody. Hope that this evening finds you well and that you've got some plans to fly this weekend. Actually, Saturday is looking the better of the days this weekend. We've got a northwesterly flow across the country, as you can see here. Some showers, yes, blowing in on this northwesterly, but generally, I think it's not looking too bad. Bases typically around 3,000 feet, tops at around 12 to 15,000 feet. The wind's probably west to northwesterlies, blowing at about 15 to 18 knots for most of us. Notice on the cloud-based forecast here, the green colours and the white colours generally across many parts of the country. That gives us ceilings of about 2,000 feet or above. So that's where we've got broken cloud. And the yellow colours just off towards the east a little bit there, showing us 1,000 to 2,000 foot bases at midday on Saturday, but probably improving as we go through the course of the day. Now, for Sunday, all changed. Low pressure off towards the west of Ireland on Sunday. Not as deep and not as vigorous as today's low has been, but these fronts still passing their way eastwards, bringing an area of rain across Ireland into western parts of the UK during the course of Sunday morning, and then passing their way eastwards through the course of the afternoon. Now, it could be that across eastern England and northern Scotland, actually the morning doesn't fare that badly. Probably VFR-able conditions. Bases around 3,000 feet, tops probably getting up to about 10 to 12,000 feet. But as that front moves in from the west, so the bases will lower. And you see here on the cloud seeding forecast, that orange colour there, indicating bases of lower than 1,000 feet. The yellows are 1,000 to 2,000 feet. And you see that at midday, most of that low cloud out towards the west, but still got those higher bases towards the east. And then following into Ireland during the afternoon behind this front, we find the cloud breaking further, the base is lifting, and yes, there'll be a few showers, but conditions certainly improve in the afternoon across the west. Pretty breezy in the south as well. We're looking at probably the Midlands, southern England, Wales, parts of East Anglia. I think there the wind's coming in from the southwesterly direction. 20 gusting 30 knots, perhaps even 35 knots in the west, but the wind's tending to decrease as that front passes eastwards. So you see that Saturday certainly looks to be the pick of the days. Now on Saturday morning, I've got my second session of Aviation Weather School Part 1. So if you're coming along to it, really pleased that you enjoyed the first session so much last Saturday morning. It'd be great to see you this Saturday morning for our second session together. Don't forget to bring your coloured pencils. And if you'd like to come to the next Aviation Weather School, I've not got the dates ready yet. It's going to be in July. I'm just about to announce the dates. But if you'd like to be told before they become publicly available, then go to weatherschool.co.uk. Click on the contact form there. Just send me a quick email and say you'd like to be added onto the list to be told first about those dates. It'll be great to see you there. And at Weather School, we learn basically about how you can predict 5 days in advance, how you can extract the most out of your flying and build your confidence in your own ability to make forecasts yourself and understand those that you're seeing elsewhere. And don't forget, at weatherweb.net, under the aviation section, go to weatherweb.net, come down to forecasts, click on aviation weather, and all of my charts, those cloud seeding forecasts I've shown you, the videos which are updated every single day are all there as well. I've got an offer on at the moment where you get 6 months for the price of 5. So go and have a look at weatherweb.net, click on forecasts, click on aviation weather, and fill your boots with that. Okay, folks. I will see you next week. Have a great flying weekend, whatever you are doing. Bye for now.
Well,
Hey, well, thank you very much, Simon, and bye for now. While Simon was on, I was half listening to the weather and half sending myself an email with an official warning because I got to the beginning of the show and realised that it took me 0 seconds to mess up. Yep, that's true, right? Which I think is a new record for me. I forgot to thank ForeFlight. Thank you very much, ForeFlight, for sponsoring the live stream. We truly appreciate it. I've been flying with Sentry, which works along with ForeFlight to provide you carbon monoxide detector, a standby AHRS, and an ADSB, a twin-channel ADSB receiver. So thank you very much again, ForeFlight, and thank you very much, Sentry. If you want to know more about Sentry, go to www.flywithsentry.com/flyer. So once again, apologies for not saying that at the beginning, and I hope I've caught myself up and I have sent myself an email and given myself a written warning.
stern word.
I've had a stern word with myself. Yeah, absolutely. Get it right, Ian. So, which brings us on to news. And funny enough, I've got the first news story. And talking about people who mess up, I think this could be a news story about the CAA messing up. You will have seen, perhaps, a communication from the LAA. Basically, there's been a review undergoing and a consultation out on things like A27 and A28, A826, which is all about permit aircraft and inspection and airworthiness and stuff like that. But effectively, the LAA came out with a communication, a public communication, which said, and it's much longer than this. You can read the whole lot on flyer.co.uk. It says, ends with, we believe the CA should temporarily withdraw these proposals and resubmit them after a collaborative working group has been convened and proper consensus between the BMAA and LAA will be achieved. Now, in kind of diplomatic language, that is the LAA saying, well, I'm going to interpret it as the LAA saying to the CA, what the actual are you playing at? You must be mad. And then the BMAA come out with one as well. And that's kind of, and effectively, they're predicting doom, gloom, and despondency if this goes through. They just can't see how they can make it work with their inspectors. And then there's these lines, there's extraordinarily tough lines. You know, bearing in mind these are official communications between what's known as stakeholders and people who've had good relationships with the CA in the past, which is because the CA has chosen not to consult on the entire Chapter A37, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Go and read these in full. They're really interesting. And you need to do a little bit of reading between the lines, perhaps, but it's absolutely astounding language, a language I don't think I've seen publicly, certainly not written down. A few people have grumbled in the past, but quite extraordinary. And then, so we clearly asked the CA, we said, excuse me, CA, what are you actually playing at? And they came back with another communication. And again, this communication will be in the news story on the website either later today or tomorrow. It'll be the full communication. I've only just picked up a few things here, but it's kind of interesting here. It's this bit struck me. This is the CEA using diplomatic language. The recent criticism made by the LAA that despite a request to be involved in this latest review of A826, no such collaboration occurred is untrue. I mean, that is effectively the UK CEA turning around to the LAA and saying, actually, you're lying. Did I mean to say lying there? Actually, you're
Misspeaking.
Lying is, if you call someone saying it's not true, then that's lying.
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely extraordinary. And we contacted the BMAA and we contacted the LAA for a response to the CA response. And I think, understandably, they wanted some time to digest that and to think about it. We have not heard the last of this. And whatever the situation, at the very, very most generous interpretation of this, there's been some extraordinarily cross wires and people have not been working or playing well or understanding well together. But you have to be pretty generous to get to that conclusion. And I think there's probably a different conclusion, which is, well, I'm not quite sure. I'm not going to go with what it is because that would be opinion and not news. But it's a complete mess. It needs to get sorted out. We are supposed to be heading towards becoming the best country in the world for general aviation. We may well get a distance there. I'm not entirely sure we'll ever get all of the way there. But this is not the way of getting there. This is just completely and utterly bonkers and not something that I've seen at the CAA relationship with its stakeholders for a long, long time, if ever, actually. So I look forward to following this. There's a great story with lots of, and if this happens, I think that may well set the tone for future relationships. And I think we may all need to hunker down a bit. However, lastly, on this story, the important thing is the consultation as it stands currently. If the CA decide not to suspend the consultation and to start again, or at least to prolong it somehow, the consultation ends on May the 27th. So please, please, please take part in that consultation. Go and read the LAA document, go and read the BMAA document, understand what they say, understand the points, and make your views known to the CA. Make your views known politely. You can use this kind of diplomatic language. You say, we are dismayed or something.
And who knows, in between that time, maybe everyone will take a step and we'll take a look and go, this is madness. Let's all...
It's extraordinary. And not that long ago, when the General Aviation Unit was created and initially run by a guy called Tony Rapson, and that was when Andrew Haynes was the CEO of the CAA, I find it hard to imagine that things would have got to this point in the olden days, should we say. I'm not pointing the finger at anyone because I don't know all of the facts behind it, but I am, for this stuff to have surfaced in that language, effectively the BMAA and LAA accusing the CA of not engaging properly and not communicating properly, and the CA accusing the LAA at least of lying is extraordinary and really not something that anyone can be really proud of. So I think we need to draw a line on it, grow up and start again would be my advice. But no one's asked me for that. But hey, never mind. Moving on. Let's move on to the Bearhawk, an airplane.
The Bearhawk.
Hey, I think you're talking about the Bearhawk, aren't you?
That's right, yes. Well, just before that, I will say that response from the CEA will be up on the website later tonight. So I've just got halfway through doing it. Anyway, the Bearhawk, American kit plane company called Bearhawk, they've produced this, and the first builder has made the first flight in his completed aircraft. It's a two-place aircraft sitting side by side, very nice classic lines. Looking at that undercarriage, it even looks a tad Duskamish. But anyway, it's the aircraft is called the Companion. Side by side makes sense. It's a marriage of the wings from Bearhawk's Patrol and the fuselage from its four-seat aircraft, the Model 5. The builder, a chap called Dave Lennart, who lives in Vermont, he's put a 180 horsepower Lycoming 0360 in there with a two-blade composite propeller. The aircraft features flush riveted aluminium wings, steel tube fuselage, and apparently it handles a bit like the narrower Patrol, which is tandem seating, and the slightly shorter fuselage makes it sportier than what Bearhawk called the pickup, the four-seater. It took the builder 10 months to build, but he has done a few before, so he's not completely new to the type. The performance the clean stall is 42 knots, 38 knots with flaps. Design cruise speed is 126 knots, and it has a payload of just over 1,000 pounds. So it's quite a handy little aircraft. That looks very nice, I think.
I think the Bearhawk looks great. I mean, it's got a bit of a reputation of being a little bit of a bear to build.
Graham Park says, does it fold? Sadly, Graham, it doesn't fold.
Only once.
Yeah, you can't fold it afterwards. Yeah. There's the Bearhawk is we'll get into later is one of the reasons that we picked home builds yet to make it to the UK shores. But there is someone is pursuing the four-place Bearhawk as an LAA project, and they've actually got a whole bunch of other. They've got a six-place aeroplane. They've got the tandem two-seat, this new side-by-side. They're quite cool. They're kind of a good mix of kind of modern and old with that flush riveted wing and the fabric covered fuselage. So, but like Ian says, quite hard to build.
Yeah, absolutely. I quite fancy going to Bearhawk. Maybe more likely to happen in the US than it is over here. So.
A friend of mine built the LSA version. He called it the Forever Hawk. It took so long.
Okay, well, what's up next? Ed, I think you're going to talk to us about SafeSky, aren't you?
SafeSky, indeed. So earlier this week, a free app for smartphones was launched that displays traffic and broadcasts your own aircraft's position. And that's launched across Europe. It's called SafeSky, and it anonymously shares your position using in-flight mobile internet. It's created by a Belgian startup, founded by 6 pilots, and it's been in operation in Belgium and France since the end of March. And it's been rolled out for the rest of Europe Friday the 14th. And they say 10,000 Belgian and French pilots of all types of aircraft have adopted SafeSky. And I've downloaded it, and I haven't flown with it yet, but the app is quite easy to use, and it comes up with a traffic display, which I think it might do when I tell it to go. There we go. So we'll see how well that works. We'll give it a try in Top Gear. We're all going to give it a try. So
yeah, I've downloaded it and I'm ready.
Yeah.
I mean, clearly there are some obvious challenges with this, which is, this works from mobile masts on the ground. So if you have no signal on a mobile mast, you're not going to have anything here. It doesn't emit anything at all. As it were. On the other hand, when I spoke a while ago to the developers, and he was saying that really this was intended originally to be for very, very low level stuff, for people who could just fly, paramotors, hang gliders, stuff like that, parachute, people who could just stick a mobile phone in their pocket, and that would then link into the system. And they showed me some traces where they've been up and down France and Spain, and they had a pretty consistent trace, and they've done some tests in mountainous areas. So I mean, if you're not too high, if you're flying along at flight level 100, not so good. If you're flying along and you stay around for 1500, then not too bad. And I think the other danger is that, as with all of these different traffic systems, there are no traffic systems that give you everything you need. You could well end up with 4 different traffic systems. It would be good if they use, I'm going to get a little bit technical here, they could use the GDL90 protocol to squirt some stuff from your phone into SkyDemon or presumably some of the other stuff, other apps as well. It'll be interesting. I'm looking forward to flying around with it and seeing what happens. I think at a basic level, for some of the people who are not going to be flying around with ADS-B out or transponders, it may well be an interesting thing. But it will have, like everything else, its limitations.
As Graham Park says, mobile phone coverage not great over the Highland.
No, indeed. It's everything's a compromise, isn't it? It's one of those things.
Yeah, but it's yet another ingredient in the EC mixing pot.
Yes, which has too many ingredients already, or at least too many non-interoperable ingredients already. I should. Anyway, there we go. Johnny, talk to us about the Armchair Air Show.
Yeah, so on Saturday the 29th at 1400, you can sit down on your sofa and watch the Armchair Air Show from Airability. It's free to view, and it will give you lots of really good content. This is the way things are going at the moment still, unfortunately. You can tune in at armchairairshow.com or search their YouTube channel or their Facebook page. So go ahead, watch it, support them, donate, get involved. It's a really worthy cause, supporting Airability. So I will be watching.
There's also at the moment, if you just Google Armchair Air Show, there's a silent auction that started where you can win all sorts of prizes. There's a, at the moment when I looked earlier, there's a flight in a Spitfire that's currently at 1,900 quid. There's yet another Red Arrow sweaty flying suit which seems to get auctioned at every single Airability auction. I'm surprised they got any left, to be perfectly honest with you.
Probably the same one being recycled.
Everyone's trying. I don't want this. I'm going to redonate it. Take it back. So someone's willing to pay. Someone anonymous is willing to pay 500 quid for a Red Arrow flight suit. It'd be amazing if it was someone just walking around the flying club, just nonchalantly.
There was I'll just pop it up because it was quite a commented on story last week. But Darren Lewington says, "Do we know who bought the eBay BD?" I just checked it. It's someone won it for £3,900. So if you know the buyer of the eBay BD that featured in the news last week, tell us.
Let us know. Yeah, whoever's. What we should do is when we find out who's bought it, we'll see if we can get them on for a quick chat. See what their plans are, what they're thinking of.
Yeah.
Whether they want to donate it to the Flyer Studio.
Yes.
Once it's sat in their garage for a while. Right, Ed.
Oh, it's me again. Blimey. Yes. So yeah, new things being certified. That's quite unusual and rare, but it's even more unusual when regulators certify military jets, and that's what's happened this week. One of the American trading providers, a company called Top Aces that does adversary flying, has certified 2 F-16s. Well, they've certified the F-16, and they've got 4 of them that they bought from the Israeli Air Force. But this is now an FAA certified aeroplane carrying an N number. So it's just completely bonkers. But yeah, so they're using it to as an adversarial aeroplane and doing a whole bunch of flying with that. But yeah, that must be quite a thing to take something that's designed for the military and manage to certify it. It says a lot for the F-16, really. So I can't imagine
40-year-old F-16 as well.
Yeah. I can't imagine anyone taking a Tornado and going, "Yeah, hello CAA, I'd like to certify this, please."
I bet you when that dossier landed on someone's desk at the FAA, it was an absolute scram for all the test pilots. Go, I think we need to extensively fly this and check this out. I'm not.
Or is it? I could, being America, I can imagine that there was a level of excitement. Whereas, anywhere, some other places in the world, it might be, it's going to cost you.
Yeah.
It'll be very difficult.
Someone's probably gone, "This is going to be awesome. Let's do it."
Yeah. So just a very cool story.
Gate Guardian. No.
Yeah.
But hasn't the aeroplane got a name that the Americans have given it?
I know you've been obsessed with this, Dave. Tell us.
Is it Luscombe?
No. But apparently, even though it's still in its Israeli Air Force colours, the Americans have nicknamed it Billy Bob, which seems appropriate.
So, Wayne Allen says, "What's next? A10." Now that would be an interesting aeroplane to certify.
Yeah.
And Adrian Norris says, "Well, what's the problem? Single engine, land, and high performance endorsement."
I wonder if it's store speed.
Claire B says, "Coming to a flying school near you." In the States, maybe, Claire, and you might need a 2-seater. Otherwise, the insurance is going to be really strict.
Anyone know what the store speed of an F-16 is?
That's a very interesting question.
Yeah, not sure.
Somebody out there must know it or be able to. Where's Keir? He knew when he knows these things. Him and Keir and Google.
Yeah. Oh, interestingly, Jonathan Smith says Hawk T1 on the UK Civil Reg at Blackpool and supposedly about to be signed off by the CAA.
I think that's to do with high G, and I think it's actually at St Athan at the moment.
Oh, okay. Johnny says.
No, but it's going to be based at Blackpool. They're going to operate it from Blackpool.
Right.
Yeah.
Johnny making a bid for the Uber geek there.
Yes.
I read
that counted?
3 weeks ago. So next. Peter Day, Mr. Persistent, has changed his plan for building hangar homes at Solent airfield. He wanted to build this, which is 6 hangar homes in one corner. He's been hit with all sorts of problems from the local council. Basically, the local council doesn't want him to do it at all, and they keep coming up with different excuses. So, to get over those excuses, Peter's come up with a plan to put it on the other side of the airfield, and he's doubled the size of the project. So, no longer 6 hangar homes, but 12. And he said, "I've decided not to pursue a planning application for 6 mixed-use hangars and a heritage centre because of the issue with the unobstructed strip between the units and the taxiway. Instead, I will be submitting a planning application for 12. I mean, Fareham Council, who look after this, they must love him. You can imagine his planning application arrives in the validation office of the planning department, and they go, "Oh my God,
who wants that?
Awesome! It'll be great."
Yes,
but yes, it'd be quite nice to have one of those, wouldn't it?
We just it's part of the part of best place in the world for GA. I'd love for a few hangar home places in the UK. How brilliant would that be? So, we've got some answers on the stall speed of the F-16. Apparently, it's around about RV3 cruise speed. So yeah, 120 to 130 knots.
So
You learn something every day.
Dispensation, because isn't the certification requirement for a store speed for a single engine 63 knots or something like that?
Yeah, they probably made us a new category for it. It's like awesome jets.
Awesome jets can go faster. Yeah. Okay, fair enough. Right, next up, we've got this landing system. I'm just going to play you a quick video before Johnny tells you all about it.
200. 100. 50, 40, 30, 20, 10, 5.
Well, it doesn't work because it forgot the last 5 feet.
I'm going to say.
At least it didn't do the Airbus thing. Yeah, so this is the Landar, which is basically a LiDAR sensor, a laser light detection sensor that gives you an accurate height readout above ground. It's made by a company called Air Test Avionics, and you can configure it via an app on your phone. And you can configure the different altitudes, the output volume, the offset, and all that kind of thing. And it starts from 500 feet all the way down to 5 feet, apparently. And it's composed of 2 components. One is the laser sensor, and the other is just the audio interface module that connects into your intercom system. And it seems a bit unnecessary, in my opinion. But if you're wanting a really well kitted out machine, that especially if you're flying IFR, it could be another string to the aircraft's bow.
Yeah, I can say that kind of technology. I can see maybe someone like Garmin possibly hoovering that up. So there's but best comment we had on that was, where we go. Nick Allen said, or in my case, 10, 5, 5, 10, 5.
Slow down, Nick.
Yeah.
I'm not. I mean, if you're flying VFR, I'm not entirely sure getting from 500 feet to 5 feet is the challenge, is it? It's normally the last half inch.
Yeah. Yeah. And more things to talk in your ear. If you stuck that in the 182, you'd have the woman doing the AOA thing shouting at you. You'd have the woman on the Garmin terrain thing shouting at you. You'd have someone talking to you about altitude.
Yeah, so in the 182, I've got one of these like Bendix King KLR 10s, I think they're called, which is like an angle of attack pitch sensor type thing, not pitch sensor, an angle of attack variable pressure sensor type thing, and it works pretty well actually. It's quite good, but it doesn't know when you're on the ground. So when you're on the ground for a while on the ground, you're getting this thing going too slow, too slow, too slow, too slow. I was going into a strip the other day that wasn't in the database. So the Garmin thought I was going to be flying into the terrain. It was going, terrain, pull up, too slow, terrain. But it was like, just shut up. Yeah. Obviously, when you're on approach, it's the wrong time to start trying to turn all the warnings off.
And it would have been one of those things where they went, why did he crash? Yeah.
Well, I can see if you added that to it, and I had like 3 of them, you just go, I am just going to crash because I just need to find a way to stop this stuff.
Yeah.
Swap it for the 1, 2, 1, 5.
At that point, you go, I'm going to add an audio book into the mix as well.
Actually, I thought, talking of audiobooks, one of my favorite parts from the James Ketchell interview last week, and that's on YouTube. You can go and see that if you like. Just go to our YouTube channel. Was when he was flying. I think he was flying from Iqaluit or Frobisher Bay back to Iceland or Nuuk or something. And he said he just descended down to like 100 feet above the sea and put the Elon Musk audiobook on and listened to that for 5 hours. So yeah, cool. Well, it's better than listening to the engine for 5 hours, wondering if it's going to quit, isn't it? I mean,
definitely.
If it is, it is. Anyway, Ed, you were going to remind us, I think, of
the issue. Yes. So out last week. So don't forget, a new issue of the mag available to read free on issue.com/flyer digital or via the flyer.co.uk website. The first UK flight test, the first RB14 approved by the LAA. a Flying with Drones feature written by Hamish Mitchell up in Scotland. Flying adventure about landing at 72, I think it was 72 strips in 12 hours, a dawn to dusk record. Ian's 4-flight sentry test. And if you're a Flyer Club member, £48 of free landings. So all that good stuff. Read the mag.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And talking of Flyer Club members, Johnny, you got some news for us?
I've spoken to Bruce at Slape, and we've come to the date of the Saturday, the 3rd of July, for the first Flyer Club fly-in. So I'm sure Bruce will probably be whipping up some treats for you all, either edible or otherwise, things stuck in hangers to look at. So we'll get some more information to you as soon as possible. But Saturday, the 3rd of July. Get it in your diary.
In your diary.
Save the date.
That's the one. Save the date. We'll be there. We'll be there. Right. So that's bringing us on very shortly to our guest, Rich Goodwin. I have to say, I can't remember when it was. A couple of years ago now, I was walking over Clifton Suspension Bridge, and there was this little red pitch doing a display just off there. I think it might have been for the Balloon Festival or something. In all honesty, I'm not a huge fan of aerobatic displays, but this one was just mesmerizing. Absolutely stunningly brilliant display in the pits. Probably one of the best pits displays I think I've ever seen, and I've seen quite a few over the years. So well done, and thank you very much for that, Rich. I think it is time for the Right Stuff quiz.
Hello and welcome, Rich.
It's a pleasure to be with you guys, and thank you for the early morning call to get me on air this morning.
Excellent, no worries. So before you get interviewed by Johnny, I'm here to give you your Right Stuff quiz questions. So
I think I'm destined to fail already, but
no, you never know. You never know. There's some in there that are particularly pertinent to you, and then there are some Flyer favourites. So I'm going to read them out. It's rapid fire, and just give me your choice, and we'll move on. And then Ian will mark you in his special clipboard way that we don't know how it works.
Yeah, okay.
Are you ready?
Yep.
Okay, here we go. Kristen Eagle or Pitts S2B?
S2B.
Grass or hard?
Hard.
Glass cockpit or steam gauges?
Steam gauges.
Hawk or tornado?
Tornado.
Torque roll or double hammerhead?
Torque roll.
Stick or yoke?
Stick.
North up or track up?
Track up.
Avgas or Jet A1?
Both.
Go through or round controlled airspace?
Through normally.
And paper chart or tablet?
So paper chart, tablet. I haven't got a map.
Excellent. Ian, how did Rich do?
Rich, pleasingly got a full score of 100. Rich has got 100 times the right stuff. Well done. I was a little bit worried there that
when you said hard or soft, I probably would have. In retrospect, I should have said both, but there you go.
It's not that kind of show, Rich. I think we said grass or hard.
Yeah,
that's okay. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but no, that was okay. That was okay.
A good score.
A good score. The biggest problem is people who say north up, because we all know that track up is the only true way to fly. But there you go. But you got it right. Well done. Thank you very much. I'm gonna say goodbye for now, and then I think Johnny's coming in.
Here comes Johnny.
We need to run. Let's run a stinger.
Yeah.
Well, Rich, thank you very much for joining us. And we're just going to have a nice brief chat through some things that will be quite interesting to our viewers. So just start off, give us your flying CV. How did it all start for you?
PPL at 17, flying scholarship. Tried to join the Air Force, failed. Tried again after I'd been to university. They said, all right, we'll give it a go. And then officer training, flying training, RAF, fast jet, Tornado GR1, short service commission, and left in 93 after the end of my first tour, my second tour on the Tornado. Did the Gulf War in 91, and then went into commercial aviation. Spent all my gratuity on getting a license, trying to fly twin-engined aeroplanes, which was obviously a bit of a shock. And then I've been a commercial pilot for major charter airlines, which is now TUI, flying the 757 for the last 25 years. I guess about 15 years ago, I decided I wanted to get back into light aviation, and it started with an acro sport. Then someone wrote it off, so it then went to Christian Eagle, which we imported and finished. I'd been building a cozy, which I'm still building for the last 25 years. I'm embarrassed to say, but it's starting to become a lockdown project and get finished. And then I knew a bit about the Light Aviation Authority and home building, and started to become passionate about the biplane, the Christian Eagle. Saw some air shows in America, doing some really strange stuff with biplanes. Never seen anything like it before in my life. And I thought, well, I'm going to have a go at that. And from there, progressed to the Pitts S2S, and then started trying to change it and develop it, realizing all the hoops you've got to go through in terms of the regulator. Met some helpful people in America, because everything here has to be designed and put through regulation in accordance with regulation, almost well, as good as, if not better than, a certified airplane. And for that, you need the people with the correct skills. And fortunately, I met Eddie Salman, who used to work with Curtis Pitts, Steve Wolf. They've all helped me in my quest to try and develop the airplane here in the United Kingdom, outside of almost the experimental category in USA, because in America it's not necessarily, it's a bit easier. If you want to do something, you make it, bolt it on and fly it, and if it works, great. In this country, there's a lot of paperwork involved, and quite rightly so. I've learned to understand that and try and get through it. And I couldn't do it without certainly John Whiten from Acroflight, Eddie Salman in America. So I'm really just the guy that's got the aeroplanes. But I suppose I'm the driving force behind it. There's no big team. It's me in my shed. Great LEA engineer, Colin Hales, who helped sign it all off. And lots of other people in the background that help me with the stuff that goes with it. But really, it's a bit of a one-man band, I guess. But I've become a bit obsessed by it all, really. And so that's kind of the background flying-wise.
So just tell me a bit about, I mean, obviously aircraft along the way, there must have been some you've loved, some you've hated, but you'll know now, as you know, when people see a Pitts, people think it's, you know, they assume that on a display scene it will be you. So what does the Pitts have that other aircraft don't?
Well, when we got the Christian Eagle, before I test flew it, because I hadn't flown for a while and that type of airplane, I went to America, did some training with a guy called Steve Wolf, who again worked a lot with Curtis Pitts. And he showed me and made me understand some of the amazing qualities about the Pitts and what Curtis put into that design, and really showed me how forgiving it could be if handled in the correct way. The fact that the top wing's at a slightly different angle of attack to the bottom wing, is staggered forward, so when you stall it, the top wing stalls first, a bit like a canard really, so the nose automatically drops, almost like you can fly it, the top wing stalled and the bottom wing flying, so you've got aileron control. So it really is a tremendous aeroplane. And I started this sort of aerobatic journey, I suppose, quite late in life, although I'd flown aerobatics in the Air Force and the jets and stuff like that. It's slightly different in light aircraft. And, you know, I take my hat off to the guys in America that have pushed the boundaries with all this stuff, but I'm coming from a slightly different place. in terms of it's not quite as easy in the United Kingdom. It's something I think that people want to see, and it's something that when people first saw it, they thought, "Oh my God, that's a bit unusual." But it's not on normal pits. I think that's one of the things to emphasise.
Yeah.
You can't just get an S2B or an S2A and do the sort of things that we do with the S2S that's modified, because it's all the very small incremental changes to the airframe and the engine and the gear that all add up to make a better performing aeroplane. And it's really, it's not designed for competition aerobatics. And, you know, I did do competition aerobatics, but not to any sort of world level. I did advanced aerobatics and stuff like that. But I did that really to put some discipline into my flying, to make sure I could do the basics relatively in a straightforward, safe way. It added some structure sort of to the route I wanted to go down. I think, so it's all the small incremental changes in the aircraft that make it into an aerial entertainer, should I say. It's not a competition aerobatic aeroplane. You've seen all those monoplanes with very, very high roll rates, and they are great, and they have a great place in aerobatics. But I think the biplane, it has a great place as well, and some of the things it can do are slightly more unusual than some of the other aeroplanes. And yeah, I enjoyed displaying it, and I quite look forward sometimes to the winter, which is the building and developing season, and it does take a long time. It does drag on. We started with the rudder, which was a sort of, chop it off, cut it, put some aerodynamic balances, make it bigger, getting approval for that. And again, I mentioned Eddie Salmon, but without him and his finite element analysis techniques, although I have an engineering degree and I can put things together from a model airplane point of view, and build what I'm told to build, it needs the I's dotting, the T's crossing before the LAA are happy that they will sign that off. And there's a big test flight program, and then you have to get any changes made, flown by another test pilot to make sure that he agrees with your findings and there's no fundamental safety issues with the aeroplane. So it's been a really interesting journey, and I've enjoyed it. It has been expensive personally, financially. I am fortunate to have managed to get a sponsor. At one point, I've sort of targeted all of the watch manufacturers and those sort of people. And it came about by accident through a friend of a friend. And I think it has actually worked well. And I would encourage anyone who wants to try and do anything like this. And there's all sorts of funding resources to not give up. But I certainly wouldn't be where I am today without my sponsor, which is an Arn Limited. It's not involved with aviation, but they're a customer service company, software. They get involved with the sort of software and technology we're using today to help people work from their homes and deliver customer service. And all credit to them. It's not a public company, private company. They looked at it and thought, actually, we'll have some of that. And I think when you try and get sponsorship, you say, well, I can do this, that, and the other. I mean, you never really know what you can deliver until it's almost happened. And actually, they're taking a gamble with you. And we've had TV programs on Sky. We've had, we've had some good stuff on TV, smiley faces over Bristol Balloon Festival, that sort of thing. And filming shoots with Morgan, lots of stuff. And it's funny how things come along once you get into the public eye, and they benefited from that. And I'm very pleased that they have benefited from that. And it's helped the aviation cause as well. It's not we're not dealing in millions of pounds here. We're dealing quite small scale. Everything I do is built in my shed. And I'm pleased and proud of where we are. I do sometimes. I know you were talking about the LAA. It's a great organisation. I'm obviously going to write a response to the latest things that are going on in changing regulation. But my personal opinion is, and I'll give you a classic example. I mean, in a minute, but if you over-regulate something, you'll just drive it underground. And the number of people I've been speaking to over this winter period where people have been applying for mods, trying to get things changed on their airplane, and the process is slow, so slow and over-scrutineered, you know, for example, to put a smoke system in a cozy, one of my colleagues has been doing that. He's got a file that thick, and it's just, you know, that is not necessary. You don't need to work out the structural stress the tank's actually on, and you know where the filler is going to go, and this, that, and the other. I mean, the trouble with over-regulation is it will just drive it underground. And you know, I'm now flying my airplane with 2 jet turbines without them running. I emphasise, because of a few issues, but it's very tempting for me to actually think I'm just going to start those up. I'm sick of waiting for permission. I've been waiting quite a few years now to actually, you know, we've done most of the donkey work, but obviously I'm not going to go down that route because I want to keep it all legal. And I'll get to. I thought about. I mean, we don't want to knock the CAA in its entirety, because they came up with a few years ago very good E conditions, they call it, which is whereby you can, if you've got the right sort of design engineer involved, you can risk assess the whole thing, which is pretty much like the Electroflight project. Give them 58 quid, put all the analysis in a drawer and say, right, I'm going flying, I've done it. And, you know, they've allowed that to happen to try and promote the development of aeroplanes in the country, which is a great thing. But it doesn't really, I don't think, I mean, I'm tempted to have a go down that route. I think we've got enough proper design analysis to actually do that, but it'd be better to get it as a product that everyone else can see and share and we can all enjoy. And air shows are about, you know, your first air shows that you went to. Wow, I saw that thing there, isn't that great? How on earth did he make that lawnmower fly, or, you know, a biplane with 2 jet turbines or whatever it is, and just inspire people. It's capturing people's imagination at the age of 6, 7, 8, 9. That's when it happens. Unfortunately, you can't fly those jets and aeroplanes at 2 foot, which is what used to inspire all of us. We used to go to the air shows. There was no rules, no regulations, and so it'd be nice to, you know, worst case scenario. I mean, my sponsor's in pretty deep, trying to get it all going. I'm, you know, I haven't got a big team of Rolls-Royce engineers and stuff like that. It's me building various bits and gluing it together. You know, if we can't, we're not allowed to start those engines for whatever reason. Worst case, you know, I suppose I've got to, you know, crowdfund it, get it to America in a container, and light it up over there, which would be a great shame, really.
Yeah, that would. So, I mean, you were talking about inspiration. Where did your inspiration for it come from?
I guess I owe a lot of, well, my flying inspiration came from my father, who unfortunately passed away last year, but he had a good innings, 92. He was involved with Meteors, Vampires, Hunters. He used to be a solo aerobatic pilot on the Hunter back in the 50s, and then brought the Lightning into service, the old Lightning, and displayed that. So I guess my inspiration for, or, you know, getting into flying is from there. And really, I guess when I went to America, Steve Wolf opened my eyes. I mean, you know, he's done a lot of display flying, but he worked with Curtis. He's built something like 25 airplanes, and he opened my eyes to what the biplane could do, and I then witnessed what the biplane could do, and my sort of jaw hit the ground when I saw it, and I thought, well, why have they got that in America, and why haven't we got it here? So in many respects, what I'm doing, you know, I'm kind of 20 or 30 years behind what they've done in America, although I'm catching up by some big turbines on it. So my inspiration for the biplane and my passion for that has come literally from a visit to America and going flying with Steve Wolf and seeing all that over there and thinking, well, why can't we have it on this side of the Atlantic? And so, yeah, that answers those questions, I think.
Yeah, so I think if Ian, in the background, we've got a little clip of the jet starting up on the pits, which we'll just play now.
Yeah.
So very briefly, one quick question, which I think you might be able to answer, is when you're looking at the aeroplane, there's a slight, they're obviously angled for a specific reason, aren't they? What determines?
Well, yeah, okay. I mean, so going back to how it sort of kind of started, Eddie Salmon, the design engineer, he designed the Jet Wacko, and also have you seen the Yak 110, the two Yaks bolted together?
Yes.
With the jet turbine. So you know, he's an innovative designer. He's a stress analysis, and he uses finite element modeling to work all this stuff out. So in the beginning, when we realized I couldn't just go and make all the bits he wanted me to put on my airplane without all this analysis, he said, well, I'm going to have to model the whole airplane, basically, because obviously if you change an elevator or tailplane, you change the stresses in the rear fuselage structure, and it just goes on. So you're almost like designing the whole airplane. So he'd modeled the whole airplane, and in one of our conversations, probably about 3 years ago, when I'd already started to build his new design of wing, I said, oh, why don't we, because I'd seen the Jet Wacko, I said, could we stick a couple of jet engines on my pits? And he said, well, yeah, we could do that in a couple of weeks. I mean, probably could if you're in America, but obviously it's taken a lot longer here. So I said, let's go for it. So I, gave him a bit of money and said, well, what have you come up with? So initially it was going to have 3 jet turbines on the bottom, and then it evolved, and we had to find jet turbines. The whole point of this is not to go above V&E or go as fast as an F-16, because clearly a pits can't do that. The whole point is to have more power than weight. So you need a 1.1 to 1 power to weight ratio. So we have 1,000 pounds of thrust from the prop in general, from a Lycoming 540 or similar. And the airplane weighs about 1,600 pounds. So we needed another 700 pounds of thrust. So there were some engines on the market from, I think it was the Czech Republic, produced about 200 pounds of thrust each. So we could have 3 of those. And then I found a company called AMT, Advanced Miniature Turbines, produced a new type of engine called the Lynx jet turbine, 350 pounds of thrust each. And so we found those, and I said, how about these? He said, yeah, okay, we'll bolt them on the side, on the center of gravity. So that's how it started. And I said, well, how are we going to analyze all this? And he said, well, it's just like having 2 big fat guys hanging on a pole, which is, they weigh about 50 pounds. 50 pounds at 9G is what, 9.5, 450 pounds. So this fuselage structure has to be analyzed to another 450 pounds on each side structurally, because you analyze it to 9G, you fly it to 6G. The original S2S was designed as a 2-seater anyway, so it's already due to have a big 200-pound American guy in the front there anyway, although it only has 1 seat. And so we knew the structure would take it. It's just proving it on paper. So he would do the final analysis. So the whole, I'm going around in circles, but we need more thrust than weight. And obviously a question coming up there, but your original question was angled outwards. So we bought 1 engine, we bolted it on, I built the mounts, we started it up, and we looked at, obviously it's a bit of a concern as to what's going on in the tailplane area. And I've learned as we've gone along. When I first started them, we had a welding blanket wrapped around the airplane to make sure it didn't all catch fire. wound the engines up and then measured the temperatures around the tailplane. I've got some photos later on the small clip that we put together. You'll see, fabric melted on the tailplane, which is a temporary tailplane we put on there. And we measured the temperatures around there, and clearly it was far too hot. So we've angled the turbines out. And the mounting system he designed made it very easy to adjust the stays on the bracket, so we could easily angle them out slightly. So yes, we are losing some thrust in the right direction. But obviously that's necessary to make sure we don't burn the tailplane. Now, so as it stands now, we've set the angle, and I didn't know that the velocity of that air coming out of the jet turbine is doing something like Mach 0.85. It's very fast, it's very directional, and it's not a certified jet turbine. So that brings into other complications. So we got it set up, we got it running, missing the tailplane. For safety reasons, I've got a thermocouple stuck on the end of the tailplane, and we don't get temperatures above about 50 or 60 degrees, which is well within the tolerance of fabric aeroplanes. But that's on the ground because we haven't actually flown it yet with them running. I suspect it's going to be better in the air because we've got 100 knots of wind going over it as well. So I'm hoping that will go away and we'll be able to bring them in a bit once we've got this sort of data from flight. But it's something that you can't really do on the computer. Well, you probably could if you spend a lot of money on it. And so the jets are angled out slightly. We haven't started them in the air yet, but because of the type of compressor, it's a centrifugal compressor. I mean, I've seen a guy with a paramotor flying them, the similar type of jet turbine, and I think the air comes in from the side. So I don't think it's that critical. I noticed that comment about, what about during aerobatics and stuff like that? We won't know any of this stuff until we actually start them up. And I'm hoping that will be soon. So just going through some of the little issues we've had. We've obviously had the tailplane temperature issues. We then took the plunge before Brexit to buy another jet turbine. So we've got two now. They're uncertified. With jet turbines, you have issues with what's called containment. And on the airliners you fly, if a fan blade breaks, it's caught in a containment ring. There's no containment ring on these jet turbines. So then we had to think about designing something. I met John Whiten, who is design engineer at Acroflight. He'd done a lot of these sort of studies using Kevlar and designing crash boxes. And the way he described it to me, he's designed a nacelle to go around it, and we've got like 10 to 12 layers of Kevlar, which is what they have in bulletproof vests. And so he's designed a containment ring. He's analyzed it. You have to cater for a third the mass of the rotor at 46,000 RPM. So there's got a lot of energy in there, but you need to be able to contain it. Initially, I thought we might be able to get away with risk assessing it and saying, well, or if we do have a rotor burst, and generally these turbines don't fail in that mode anyway. I'm sort of saying these turbines is sort of matching it with a model airplane turbine, but it is a lot bigger, and it's a very powerful beast. But if you look at where the actual rotor burst would go, you can get away with risk assessing it if you look at the various publications, and it's going to go through my foot and a fuel tank. So you can get away with it going through a fuel tank as long as the fuel tank doesn't drip fuel onto something hot, which it won't, because in your airliner you've got dry bays over the nacelles which cater for that. So that wasn't an issue. If it would go through my foot, I thought, well, maybe we could risk assess it, saying, well, pilot gets foot injured, lands with 1 foot. It wasn't going to stack up. So we've got this solution now, and it adds about another 5 or 6 pounds. It's a carbon nacelle with the Kevlar laid up. When John was explaining to me, I said, yeah, I'll just build that. That's fine. He said, well, we've got to, demonstrate that the maths adds up, because we are normally in certification process, you go and blow these things up and it works. But obviously, we're home builders. We're not going to do that. So I've got a ballistic air rifle, and we'll fire pellets at it. So I did some test samples. We fired the pellets at it, and he scales it and says, "Yeah, you're okay. 10 layers, good to go." So I built one containment nacelle. So you saw it in that photo. It looked a bit ropey, but actually it just hasn't been finished yet. And I thought I was going to get hot, but John's saying that you got like 6 little knacker inlets, and the air is drawn in, and it goes between the hot skin of the turbine and the nacelle. So it all seems to work okay, which is great. So just what's been going on. Before Christmas, I sent paper to CI, said, right, we're ready to give it a go. We had a certain amount of design analysis done. I can see everyone's come on board because they want me to just quit and get off. We can. Just tell me how much longer we've got, and I can actually adjust my.
So basically, this is supposed to end 54 seconds. The whole thing's supposed to end 54 seconds ago.
Do you want to end it now, or it round off?
Keep wrapping it up a bit. There's a few people who are really, more than a few people who are really interested in the details.
Yeah. Okay. So the design analysis has gone in. The initial analysis didn't incorporate the gyroscopic loads of the turbines, which are actually quite small. It's doing 46,000 RPM, the mass of the rotor, precession and all that sort of stuff. So in the CS25, you have to take, with jet turbines, you have to take into account a yaw input of 2 radians per second and the pitching input, because that adds a load as well as the weight. It adds loads in different directions. So that hadn't been analyzed. So we came to an agreement. I said, well, look, let's just see if I was concerned that the aeroplane wouldn't fly particularly well with 2 bits stuck on the side, causing all sorts of rotor and rubbish over the tailplane. And they agreed. So, you've got to do a few more hoops, weigh it again, this, that, and the other. Let me double check, have a few extra signatures. Anyway, so having put all that in over Christmas, eventually last week, literally, they said, okay, give it a go. The release to service, so I could go and test fly it. And with advice from Dan Griffiths, test pilot, LAA test pilot, he said, try this, do that. So he advised me, because we were a bit concerned about the pitch control and rotor off those things right onto the tailplane, because in some iteration and changes, you've had flutter on tailplanes and stuff like that. So he said, we'll just get it airborne, fly a few feet above the ground, and if you don't like the feel of it, land it again. But it all seemed to feel pretty good on, low power at a couple of feet. So we got airborne and went for it. And I've done a full flight test profile, as much as I can do. So, slow speed flight, high alpha power, 6 spins left, right, upright, a couple of spins inverted. And apparently the engineers tell me the polar moment of inertia has changed on the aeroplane, because we've got those 2 weights stuck out there slightly outboard. And John Whiten gave me the analogy of a starfighter spinning with and without tip tanks. And I think we can all imagine it's going to be slightly different. And the spinning was slightly different, but it was very safe in the usual Pitts way. Foot opposite rudder, let go of the stick, and it just recovered. So it took a bit longer to recover. So, I feel really positive about the whole thing now, and really just waiting for that permission to, push the button to start them in the air. So that's where we are.
Because it's a jet. Because it has 2 jet engines, does that mean that does it now become an EASA complex aircraft that needs a type rating?
Well, we're under what's it? ANO, the Air Navigation Order.
So you're
so all home-built aeroplanes are under the Air Navigation Order. So nothing to do with EASA, thank God. Something to do with the CAA, unfortunately. But I haven't. I literally sent the report in about 2 weeks ago, and I said to them, look, this is great. It flies well. What could possibly go wrong?
Rich, is the final aim with the 1-to-1 better than 1-to-1 power to rate ratio? The fact that you can come to a stop and then accelerate from a stop again in the air.
Well, I think we've watched our RC modelers many years doing these 3D aerobatics, hovering the aeroplane, putting upwards, this, that, and the other. Clearly, we won't. I mean, you watch those guys, and the tail is on the floor. Now, it would be great to make some film like that, risk assess it, but I suspect we won't be doing that. We will be doing it at 800 feet, and we'll have tested. If one of the engine fails, you shut the other one down, and you recover, and we'll have our operational envelopes. So, but yeah, the whole idea is, I think it will be a different type of display. We'll move to crowd center. I'll slow it down a bit, and people think, oh, he's going to fall out of the sky now, and think, oh no, he's not. He's hovering. I'm reading some of the Apollo mission books at the moment, and I think it'd be like Neil Armstrong trying to hover that stupid machine that he had to fly before he landed on the moon. Except I built mine in a shed.
That's it. Yeah. And you've got 3 throttles, have you, in one hand?
Yeah, I mean, there is it's all very, how are we going to do this? I mean, it's very simple, the controls. There's a switch, you switch the engine on and off. You've got RPM, exhaust gas temperature. If something goes wrong with it, it shuts itself down if it doesn't like anything. And it's all controlled electronically by, well, it was a rotary potentiometer, but I've changed that to 2 slide potentiometers, which are literally, you got the throttle there for the pits, and then you've got 2, I haven't put any knobs on them yet, but there's 2 slide potentiometers to adjust the thrust, and it seems to work all right. And I'm anticipating, setting a power, and then with the jet turbines, and then tweaking the prop, to incrementally change the thrust for the hover position.
Well, thank you hugely for that, Richard. I know I'm going to get a whole load of grief from everyone watching for trying to wrap this up now, when there's tons more that could be said. But we are now running over, and we've got a whole bunch of other stuff we need to quickly rattle through. So
that's okay.
Thank you hugely for that.
Maybe we can get, when Rich is flying, maybe we can get Rich back to talk about the project again.
Yeah,
absolutely. I was going to say, what if you had to take a guess, if you were a betting man, when do you think you'll be lighting him up in the air?
Well, I'm not going to. I mean, it goes back to this regulation thing. It drives things underground. The more over-regulation. If you could send some paperwork off and they said, "Yeah, okay, that looks pretty reasonable. Give me that, this, that, and the other." Yeah. So I've sent my test flight report off, and I've taken the jet turbines off because we've got 2 air shows coming up. I need to practice for the air show season. I'll be displaying the blue aircraft, which is GJ Pitt, which is it's got a much better wing on it, and it's a much different display aircraft to the red aircraft. Gee whiz. And after the Midland Air Festival, which is the first sort of major air show, I also want to plug the Airability one, because we'll be involved with helping Mike with that, and I hope everyone's going to take the time to watch. There's some exciting things going on. I'll put the jet engines back on because they're easy to take on and off, and we want to. I've asked Francis or the LAA if we can start on the 7th of June and start them up in the air. And really, the next step is just to apply full power on one engine and see what the V minimum control air is. And if we can fly it on one engine, no problem, like a Boeing 757, full power, and there's enough rudder authority, I think we're almost hope and dry, because, in any engine failure scenario, we just need to fly it down to the stall with full power. And if we can fly it around like that, there's enough rudder authority, I don't see why it shouldn't be, a great airshow aircraft without any serious biases. I mean, certainly flying it with the 2 jet turbines on it, it flies like a normal Pitts with another, Pitts S2B, a heavy Pitts S2B with another guy in the front. So there's no sort of vices there. Even the knife edge flight with those 2 things stuck on the side, yes, it's heavier, but it handles and flies really well. And it's actually, I started building the other containment nacelle because they take quite a long time to build. There's a lot of layups and stuff like that. So yeah, I've ordered the Kevlar, and that's it. Yeah.
Well, thank you.
I'm gassing on.
So I'm going to extrapolate from that, and then hopefully what you just said is we should hear the jets firing up sometime this summer. The sooner the better. After June, sometime after June the 7th. Maybe.
Well, we fired them up on the ground, and you can see it running on the ground. Yeah, and it's great because there's a lot of noise, and it does tend to set off the car alarms in the car park when I run the jet engines. Kind of satisfying.
like a little Vulcan almost.
Two little Vulcans. I've only run it with one running, but when two are running, I'm going to have to approach both for some more headsets.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much, Rich. Please come back and tell us what it's like when you fired up in the air for the first time. Don't forget to stick a GoPro in it with a microphone.
And thank you for all your work you're doing for General Aviation. It's my first time meeting Flyer and you guys. I know there's a big audience out there, and I think GA in the UK is something special. And thank you very much for all the effort you put into promoting it.
Well, thank you, and we look forward to seeing you somewhere in the air with your 3 engines and your noise and your.
Well, if you don't see it, I know you'll hear it.
You'll hear it.
and the stunning displays. I love the fact that you got a red one and a blue one. Which one do you want, the red one or the blue one? Anyway, thank you very much.
Okay,
thank you, Rich.
Take care. Thanks.
Cheers. Next time.
Okay.
Hangar.
Okay. Bye.
Well, that was amazing, and we will definitely have to make some more time to get Rich back, because it's a brilliant project, and I'm look forward to seeing that fly.
Yeah.
So
we're running 11 minutes over at the moment, and someone's already said that it's past Johnny's bedtime. I think that was his dad again.
There's no risk of Mrs. Salmon coming along and going, Johnny, come on.
No. The door's locked here, so no.
You're safe then, yeah. It's like, Mum. So obviously, there's a bit of a home-built theme running this week, and we'd seen the new Bearhawk in the news, and we were chatting about this earlier. And it's like, oh, what should we have a fancy hangar? So it's like, there's some types that have appeared elsewhere, some awesome home-built aeroplanes, but haven't yet made it to the UK. So we figured we'd pick yet to be approved home-builts that we'd like in our fancy hangar. Who is first?
Johnny.
Yeah, so I've picked the drumroll Subsonics.
Whoa!
Look at that.
You'll be like an economy Rich because you've just got one jet.
Only one, yeah. So it looks great. I think it would be a fantastic machine to experience flying, just to be able to have that small VVVV LJ. It's got a VNE of 287 miles an hour. It pulls plus 6G in the aerobatic category. It'd be great for just hooning around the countryside at high speed, obviously probably from tarmac to tarmac. But the quick build, the quick build kit costs 44k, and the engine on top of that's another 65k, and they reckon in total, to put it all together, you want about 115.
Interestingly, so even though this isn't approved in the LAR, I know Francis, because we ran an article on the Subsonics, and I spoke to him, Francis Donaldson, at the time, and he said it would be an interesting one to LAR approve, because he said, I think actually there's some benefits, and things like the jet is it's an easy install compared to fitting some piston engines, because it's just fuel, you attach it, fuel and ignition, very simple firewall forward. So.
He didn't say he would approve it definitely though, did he?
No. But he said he did say it would be easier than you think. So
yeah, easier than you think. By the time someone gets, I'm not going to go there. Ed, you're next.
Am I next? It's already popped up in the comments. There's already a couple of people have already name checked it. But for me, I would absolutely love to see the Sport Performance Aviation Panther. We flight tested this probably 7-8 years ago now. It's designed by a guy called Dan Weisman, and it's made by his company in Florida. It's like a modern day RV3. Lovely lines to it. It's got this the brilliant feature though that you want for a single seater, because it's the single seater is an aeroplane that you're going to have in addition to something else. Is the fact that it's got a one person, very easy pull out and fold. The wings pivot and fold along to the side of the aeroplane, and it's a little bit bigger than an RV3. You've got nice steel tube fuselage, cockpit, a semi monocoque, wings, tail. and you can put anything in it from a Rotax to a Lycoming. But it's a performer, around 150, 155 knots cruise, +6, -4. That's I would love, and I know there's a whole bunch of people who would really love to see that in the UK. I think if I was going to build anything again, I would really like to do a Panther, and I know it's on your retirement list, Ian.
Yeah, absolutely. Unfortunately, retirement seems to be a long way. Unfortunately. And I frankly, I would have chosen Panther other than one of the previous fantasy hangars. I'd already chosen Panther. So I've got a Panther in my hangar at the moment. What I don't have is one of these. Lancer Evolution. I mean, look at that. Turboprop, 300 knot cruise, although it's high-speed cruise, 1,000 nautical mile range, although that's without any reserve, so you might get a bit twitchy as it gets closer. Just a fantastic airplane, four-seat. There's a build assist program, because clearly they don't just send you some rolls of carbon fiber and a set of plans and say, off you go, get on with it. So there's some fairly intensive build assist stuff. It's a couple for sale for 1.3 million, something like that. I think you buy the kit for something like just under $500,000. I'm talking dollars, so it's not as bad as it sounds. But I think that's a funky. I'm not completely convinced by its looks, to be fair.
It's those windows. The windows in the side are too big. But it is. You forgot to mention that it is pressurized, so that's one of the reasons. Yeah. That's quite a piece of kit. So.
Yeah, it is quite a piece of kit. I mean, I don't know, and I don't want to get sued for slander or libel or anything like that. But I suspect that most of the builds for most of the evolutions are completed by a bunch of experts with a bit of help from the owner, as opposed to the owner completely. Which, frankly, when you're talking about a 300 knot pressurized turbine aircraft, you really want some people who know what they're doing when they're putting it together. And
definitely.
I think I'd be worried that the bubbles in my carbon fiber were producing some weaknesses. Anyway, so last evolution, that's got a place in my fantasy hangar.
Right.
And I think, even though it's kind of, its mother loves it and a few other people loves it, I think it's kind of slightly prettier than some other aircraft. Dave, what are you choosing?
Well, you wouldn't be referring to my choice, would you, Ian?
I don't know. We'll let people make up their own mind.
Okay, my choice is the Verhees Delta 2. This is the two-seat version of the D1, and I think it's so wacky, it's so unusual. It's a flying wing, it's sort of aircraft, and I think I'd get one of these. And they're flying it. It's a Belgian company that makes it, and one of them flew into the LAA rally. I don't know, must have been about 15 years ago. We saw it circling overhead and coming to land. It was a single-seat version, and it was all polished aluminium. It caused a massive stir, and it was the hit of the rally, really. This is a two-seat version. It's a later one. It's bigger. Apparently, it's big enough so if you fly somewhere, you can camp inside it.
I've seen the sleeping bag setup in the two-seat version. It looks like rustic camping, I must admit, and I think he did bring a tent. I'm not sure he really slept in his aeroplane.
But it's fast and it's got a long range. But what I would have to do is I'd have to have, so that when I got out of the aircraft, I'd get out wearing my little green man suit with a couple of bobbles on the top, and I would say something like, "Take me to your leader," whatever. You'd have to do it, wouldn't you? You have to turn up at
Take me to Grant Chaps.
Yeah. Graham Park says a bit different from a Luscombe, Dave. Yeah, the normal service will be resumed next week.
I think before we go on, there was one, Ed, that you kind of almost chose, I believe. That looks
because there's a whole bunch of there are some really fantastic home builds around, and this one it was a hard choice for me because I really love this as well. This was designed by a company called Timber Tiger Aircraft. And it's a full-scale Ryan PT-22. Amazingly, this is Rotax 912 powered. And they've made and flown the prototype, and they're now selling full kits. I think that would be, again, I'd love to build that. I think that would make a brilliant aeroplane to have built yourself, and wouldn't that be great? Turn up in the rally in your own home-built PT-22 like that.
That would be You get to park out the front, wouldn't you? One of those.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
special aeroplanes.
Yeah, we got some good comments. Obviously, Panther is really popular. Lots of people know about that. David Eade says sea wind. That's exceptionally hopeful, I think, David. What we got? Sea wind. Lots of the Sicilian Tucano replica that was being built here, but it all went a bit quiet. Clearer Cloud says Lockwood Air Cam. Yeah, that's a great aeroplane.
Cool.
Very cool. Quite expensive though. And there was an Italian Hurricane scale, like a Hurricane replica. I think again there was talk it might come here. It hasn't made it here yet. So, but anyway, there was some good aeroplanes. Yeah. Only Andy McKee says good choice, Dave. But Andy's Andy knows his home built. So and obviously if he's flown in one, then he's going to be joining you wearing the alien suit.
He might be wetting himself laughing while he's actually typing that as well.
Yeah. And as Graham Park likes folding aeroplanes, Graham says Ed wins.
Right.
Okay. Paul Cadell, Fleet of Bally Bombers. So if you haven't seen the Bally Bomber, this is I think it's a quarter scale B-17 that's kind of one man sized. Google it, it is brilliant. And I think it is for sale at the moment. But don't bring it to the UK because LA will go, what?
What would you like to do with this exactly?
That's it.
Okay.
Yeah,
it really is getting past Johnny's bedtime now. So let's move swiftly on to the events, Dave.
Okay, so some events we just want to mention. There's the eShot commemorative flying on the 12th and 13th of June. There's the beautifully named Hinderclay Meadows Midsummer flying on the 19th and 20th of June. We've heard about something called the YouTuber flying being held on the 15th of August. Do we know anything more about that? Because it's just been written on the script.
No, I noticed John Hunt in the comments earlier, and I popped John Hunt an email. I haven't heard back from him yet, or I haven't had a chance to check my emails for a while. So, John, if you're still there, we're hoping to, if it's okay with you, we'll pop along and come to that. And we're looking forward to running a feature about that before the event in the magazine, which will be good. So, we'd given that this is on YouTube, we kind of figure we ought to be kind of YouTube-ish, kind of as it were. And so we'd love to come along.
But that's a whole bunch of guys like Ben Atkinson and Johnny. You'll know more of these people.
Yeah, Rory Oscar.
Rory's in it.
Fly Live. Who else?
The Microlight
Jodell Flyer.
Jodell Flyer.
Yeah. So
plain old Ben.
Plain old Ben. Yeah. There's not that steal with my rear guy, is there?
No, his YouTube channel's terrible.
And there's another event that's just sort of crept into the script. There's a Stearman flying at Enstone on the 5th of June, which is not that far away.
And Enstone's a great place for Stearmans. You'll find a whole bunch of them under restoration there.
Oh, right.
And of course,
3rd of July.
Fly Club flying.
Yeah. Fly Club flying. Save the date. Johnny, tell us about the club.
Yeah, so first of all, if you've been out flying and you've taken some nice pictures, send them to us for the next magazine. It's great to get them. Just reply to any of the emails that you get sent. Just attach some photos and that's perfect. Obviously, the flying at Slape, Saturday, 3rd of July. Get it in your diaries. I'll speak to Bruce and get some more details ironed out, and we'll let everybody know all the information as soon as we get it. And also, obviously, if you aren't a member of the Great Fly Club and you want to be, you can join from £7.50 per quarter. Just go to fly.co.uk and click the Flyer Club tab at the top of the page.
Take my word for it. Subscribe now. You'll thank me later. You'll find out why as well. So let's let's just quickly tie up with QSY. There's a few things here, and as I made a mess at the beginning of the show, I'm going to make a mess at the end because the first item on there I don't have the picture for. So sorry about that, Johnny, but tell us what it's all about anyway.
Yeah, so this is the Aerial Collective, along with the Aircraft Restoration Company, are starting a Spitfire tail chase experience. So you can pay for 2 expensive aircraft to be in the same bit of sky at the same time, but you can only be sat in one of them. So you can chase the it's a 109. It's the Spanish Bouchon. You can be sat in the 2-seat Mark 9. Prices start from £4,250.
Bargain.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's aeroplanes. There's cheaper aeroplanes than that on A4s. You can buy all.
You can buy the whole thing. Yeah. Yeah, it would be kind of an interesting thing, but
yeah. But there's a massive market for that stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. There was someone, I can't remember who it was, spotted a candle. It was for sale, which I thought was quite funny. Jet fuel in the morning candle. So
yeah,
if you need your fill of kerosene, then you can't wait till you get to the airfield.
So does that candlelight burn really fast?
Apparently, it's taken the guy ages to sort the scent out. He's not quite at Jet A, so it's a mix of apparently greasy hanger, oil, and just general fuel. So if that's your thing, you can go and buy it.
Yes. And you light it, and it leaves a big plume of smoke up your wall.
Yeah, I can't see that being on sale in Lush very often.
No, exactly.
And finally, I think this is our final thing. Our final thing is this dating service, isn't it? Who knows about
that?
This is called Lusso Dating. It's for aircraft owners, pilots, and successful people. That's what they say. It's a luxurious dating site. It's a luxurious dating site allowing its exclusive members the ability to find a partner based on premium pursuits. Slots are limited per country and gender, and cost up. Wait for this. It costs up to $1,000 per month.
That's bonkers. This stuff gives aviation. It makes people think the wrong things about aviation. This should be banned.
Yeah. I mean, for a start, everyone knows that a pilot, male or female, will instantly find a partner just by dint of being a pilot. And secondly, can you imagine the absolutely, I'm sorry about this, but I have to say, the absolutely horrible people that you're going to be fined paying $1,000 a month just to find pilot and successful individual partners. They must be the horrible, shallow, weird.
Yeah, there's definitely there's a problem. The photo used in the ad is like he's reaching out to touch the instrument panel, and she shouldn't be laughing. She should be like, you're sat in the right hand seat. Just sit there. Don't touch.
Don't touch my airplane, she should be saying.
That's it, yeah. Though I did read the website, and it says Lusso has been designed to attract the most outstanding and unrivaled singles on the planet. So I figured I might get a Falco or something like that.
But no.
Stuart Bannister said, is that £1,000 per month or quarter, Johnny?
If you're paying per month.
That's it, yes. Yeah, I don't take clear of clouds advice. £1,000 a month, that's a lot of mogas. I think that's a better spend.
Yeah, that is a much better spend. And frankly, I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to say that. Well, at this point in time, it is 2 minutes, just 2 minutes to 9. So that's almost an hour and a half we've been talking. So thank you very, very much for bearing with us. Thank you for welcoming Rich Goodwin and his fantastic detailed story of his little jet thing, which has still not come to an end yet because he hasn't managed to light them up in the air, which is a great thing. Looking forward to that. CA, LAA, BMA, get yourselves together. Have a word. And thank you very much. We'll see you next Thursday.
FourFlight.
Thank you.
FourFlight. Thank you to FourFlight.
FourFlight. Keep forgetting. Thank you very much, FourFlight, for sponsoring the live stream. It is very, very much appreciated. FourFlight makes Sentry, which is a twin-channel ADS-B receiver with a carbon monoxide detector and an AHARS built in that you can see within FourFlight. If you want to know more about it, go www.flywithsentry.com/flyer. And that's genuine thanks to FourFlight for supporting the channel. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. See you next week.
Take care, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Take care.